it been 2 weeks already? Yeah. Guess the calendar doesn't lie. It's time for another Taiji development log. I'm Matthew Van Devender, and I'm making a game called Taiji, which is a open-world adventure puzzle-solving game that takes a lot of inspiration from The Witness. And if that type of thing sounds interesting to you, there's a link in the description to find out more. So these past 2 weeks have definitely gone by quite a bit faster than I expected and less productively than I hoped. And I can kind of chalk most of that up to the fact that I was sick for about half of that time. So I don't think it was coronavirus, but, you know, I mean, how can you be sure, right? I mean, like, really, I mean, how do you know? Like, anyway, so I responded to some game design, I guess, criticisms and interface weirdness with the in-game area pretty hard these past 2 weeks, and that mostly involved totally gutting the entire code backend for those in-game puzzles and rewriting that. So I kind of like left the design pretty much the same, but just ripped out all the code and rewrote it from scratch. You know, that's sort of like a big bullet to bite, but I kind of had to do it because there was so much cruft built up there from like all the dead alleys that I went down through January and February trying to figure out these in-game puzzles, that it was just impossible to do anything with it. So I had some weird bugs in there, and I just thought it's going to be easier than trying to track down these bugs to just like gut the system and rewrite it. That may have not been true, but still, it was worth doing. Unfortunately, these types of like big sweeping changes where I like need to replace some system in the game with like a new iteration of that are always a little scary, because in like the best case scenario, you end up with something that's basically the same. Like it looks the same to the player. It seems like there's no difference. And in the worst case scenario, everything breaks. So unfortunately, I had a bit of a worst case scenario these past 2 weeks with that. So a lot of this past week has been spent trying to fix the problems that were caused by me not exactly plugging in everything correctly when I was replacing those systems. So I want to kind of blame myself for doing it, but I also kind of want to just say that I was sick and I was a little bit delirious sometimes when I was programming, and maybe I pushed a build and I thought it was good, and my judgment was impaired. So we'll just leave it at that. Because I was sick, okay? All right. Anyway. Other than that, I've just kind of been fixing a lot of little bugs and tweaking things here and there. And if I ran down the list of all of those, then basically I would be here all day. So we just won't do that. I guess you could leave a comment if you really did want to be here all day, and I could just run down the list of all the things that I did. But we're going to try to keep it snappy. I did tentatively get started on the first steps for building out the new version of the mill area, which at this point just involves taking copious amounts of notes as I go through all of the puzzles in the area, and just kind of writing what I think about everything. And that's useful because, you know, I might be able to mark out certain puzzles as, well, I might want to cut this puzzle, or I might mark out certain puzzles as I might want to use this puzzle as like a knowledge gate puzzle rather than kind of just being in a straight line the way it is right now. Since I'm planning on doing some kind of more non-linear structure with the area that's a little bit more experimental, it kind of has to change a lot from the way it is, even though I think, generally speaking, a lot of the puzzles are good as they are. I guess I apologize again for not having much visually to show you this week, so I'll show you like a couple things that I did. Like, I mean, I changed this thing. And like I changed these stairs in like a way that's probably borderline imperceptible. Okay, I'm losing my mind here, so just kind of work with me, okay? Thanks for joining, and I will see you all in a couple weeks. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course wishlist the game on Steam. There's a link in the description to do that. And I'll see you all around in another 2 weeks. Hopefully we've got concept art or something to show by that point. See you around. Bye-bye.